right, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the recap. I am Michael D'Angelo, joined as always by my partner in crime, Mr. Big D, Daryl Ortiz. We are 1 week away from Bad Blood, not the Taylor
Yeah.
Swift song, the WWE premium live event, Bad Blood. So we're setting all the pieces in place with Raw and SmackDown, especially from this past week. So let's jump right into it, Big D. What consequential things happened here on Monday Night Raw?
Well, lots of I can tell you right now, both shows were very promo heavy, and I think
Yeah,
that they're just really
very
trying
much.
to like set the stage for Bad Blood coming up. So that's a big piece of it. But yeah, we opened up the show with Dom and Liv Morgan, of course, coming out and doing their thing. And I was telling my wife, sorry, I'm not sidetracked just a sec here, how awkward that must be. For his wife, for non-wrestling fans that happen to see pictures of Dom on the internet carrying Liv Morgan, or like Eskimo kissing her, or even kissing her, carrying her, and her straddling him. Like, how awkward is that conversation? Like, hey, isn't that your husband? Like, we were talking about that, and I'm just like, I mean, obviously they've talked about it, and I'm sure
Yeah.
Dom set boundaries on what is yes and what is no, but I'm just like, that's just interesting. I saw a meme the other day that said like Dom coming home from work, like, oh, I had a rough week at work, and it's like the rough week, and it's like him with him with Rhea, him with Liv, and I'm like, yeah, sure, buddy, but it's interesting. But anywho, they come out, do their thing. Dom and the Loretta, now they're selling. So yeah,
Yeah.
there's merch opportunities. Pretty much just Liv giving the promo about how Rhea's just jealous about how she's taking everything from her. It's all hers now. The title's hers, Dom's hers, the Judgment Day's hers, and so I guess making herself the leader now of Judgment Day.
Sounds
Not
like it.
sure. Yeah. So then Rhea comes out by herself and says, "Don't worry, I'm not worried about your little goons coming out." Blah blah blah, and then says she's got the match squared away for Bad Blood, but there's one more stipulation added, and that's that Dom's going to be hanging in a shark cage. So we're going to have a hanging Dom match, a kind of callback to the custody battle of Dominic Mysterio, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, it was a pretty lengthy promo session, but pretty much the gist of it is we're going to get Dom on the Shark Tank, so he doesn't interfere. But of course, that doesn't mean anybody else can't. But we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
What do you think of
promo
the
was
segment?
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, the promo was okay. It wasn't great. The big reveal was the stipulation for the shark cage thing, which is for me is kind of silly because the whole point is so that Dom can't interfere. But you're not having the entirety of the Judgment Day in the shark cage.
Yeah.
So unless you're going to put the whole team up there, that doesn't really prevent people from interfering here. But it's fine. I'm sure it'll be fun. It'll be kind of a
Yeah.
funny visual. I'm sure he'll try to escape, or maybe even escape during the match. You never know. But we'll see. They're just trying to add another layer here so that Dom's not right there ringside doing a lot of distractions.
Right, but I think it's funny because I was actually talking to my wife. We the last time I saw a shark cage match was with Enzo in the Shark Tank, and it was extremely comical. I think one time he busted out
Yeah.
baby oil and started like trying to like grease
Trying to
himself
squeeze through
up
the
to like
bars.
squeeze that through the bars, and I'm like, that may not go over so well now with all the Diddy stuff going around. So I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna do that spot, but I'm
Yeah,
sure Dom's
steer
gonna
away
try.
from it. WWE.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? But yeah, so that was interesting. After that, we had Sami Zayn versus Ludwig Kaiser. Fun, decent match. I mean, of course, Ludwig Kaiser just a great wrestler. I think people underestimate how good of a wrestler he really is. I mean, he's a great talker. He's good on the mic. And they had their match going back and forth. It really was. I feel this match was really more just. It wasn't a long match. It was really more to set up what happened after. So of course, Sami Zayn wins by hitting the haluva kick. It was again good match. I'm happy with it. It was a fun match. But then right after Gunther comes out and he's like in ring gear. Like he's like in his ring gear.
ready
He's
to go.
has the title on, and he's like, you know what? You've been bugging me. You've been asking me, and I think, he's like, I think California, this place is a good. Ontario is California where they're at. He's like, Ontario is a good place to get, to do this and end this and settle this. I think right now is a good time, and I think tonight is a good. And the crowd's like about to like lose it because they're like, we're gonna get a title match right now, and he's like, so I'm gonna tell you. He's like, no. And he walks away, and of course, you had Wade Barrett laughing hysterically in the background there because he loved it.
Yeah.
But again, it was a good little setup and a no. I mean, obviously that just means that Sammy's going to do something next week to piss him off, and it's going to trigger this a week before. I don't think they're going to have that at Bad Blood because they already have their 5 matches. So
Yeah.
I don't know how they're gonna. I don't know how they're gonna move on with that. Because at first I was thinking, oh well, he's just gonna trigger him next week, and then from there he's gonna be able to come in and okay, last minute addition to the card. But they already have their 5 matches, so I don't think it's gonna happen at Bad Blood. But I'm curious to see how it goes. What do you think?
Yeah, same here. Like the match stuff was good. The match was good. This it was more for the continuation of the story with trying to get this title match going. I did like the fact that Gunther made it out like we're doing this right here, right now, and then just immediately came back with no, and then just walked off.
Yeah,
I that for me that was very
beautiful
fun.
heel work.
Really, really well done. But yeah, to your point, I'm like, okay, now they're running out of time. They can't really make it happen. Doesn't seem like they can make it happen for Bad Blood.
No.
So we'll see. We'll see if we get an impromptu match next week on the lead up to it. Who knows? But it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Obviously, we'll get a payoff at some point.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we will. After that, we had Dragon Lee versus Carlito, which was kind of randomly put together there. But, again, Dragon Lee's still upset with Carlito because Carlito's the one that jumped him back in the day. It feels like so long ago, but it really wasn't. So, yeah, they had their match. And, of course, Judgment Day was there, of course, to interfere. But a nice surprise to see Rey Mysterio come out and take out Dom. That was actually a pretty cool visual because he came off the barricade and took out Dom, and then Dragon Lee used that to do like a kind of like a twisting slam on Carlito and took the victory over him, which was good. It's good to see Dragon Lee win. I actually loved his costume coming out. Like his entrance gear was pretty badass, and I think Dragon Lee's a great wrestler. I think they're going to try and build him up. To those who may not have heard, the rumors supposedly have been confirmed that you have Lucha Bros have signed officially to WWE. So we're going to get Penta Cero Miedo and his brother Rey Fenix back in not back, but to debut in WWE eventually. Will it be at Bad Blood or maybe post the Raw after Bad Blood? I'm hoping Raw, just because of the style of wrestling that they are capable of, is a little more hardcore-ish, and it's a lot. It'd be cool because it's still on Raw, go to Netflix, it'd be uncensored. But I feel like I remember a while back there was a feud. I want to say it was I forget which promotion it was. I don't know if it was Lucha Underground, but Dragon Lee and Penta had their own little feud going. So it'd be interesting to see. I just hope to God they don't stick them in Legado or LWO. I just hope they let them do their own thing. Because that's where they belong. But yeah, I'm hoping that maybe they're building up Dragon Lee now, and that way when the Lucha Bros come, they can have like an amazing match together. Maybe him teaming up with Rey Mysterio, and they can have like an absolute banger of a match. But yeah, it's good to see.
Yeah,
it's good to see Dragon Lee pick up some victories. I'm happy to see that. It makes me very excited, and I think he's really good in the ring. So we'll see what happens. What do you think of the match?
Yeah, and the match was good. It was very short, though. It was a short match, and we only got 2 matches in that first hour, and so that's where this is like a real abbreviated one. Nice to see Dragon Lee get the win. It kind of feels like there's a stop-start momentum with him, where when he came onto the main roster, he was doing a lot, and then he's disappeared a couple of times. So it's nice to see him back and picking up a win. I hope that they'll get him involved in a longer program, maybe with the Lucha Bros. That would be cool. Hey, put the 3 of them together and actually start creating a trios division. They got enough teams now that they can really, if they wanted to, put together a
they
trios
really
division.
could.
But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with all that and the timing on it as well. But yeah, we'll see.
I agree. Well, if they're going to do a trios division, then I'd rather see them pair up with Andrade. That would be amazing. But we'll see what happens. After that, we had a scheduled match of The Miz versus Bronson Reed, because apparently The Miz wanted the match. And you had Karrion Kross kind of playing his little planting of seeds of like, hey man, I know you can do this, but other people, they're just talking. I don't know what Karrion Kross's angle is. I don't know if he just goes in there to manipulate people and get in their heads.
Yeah, he's just an instigator.
I mean, it's working on Xavier Woods, because we'll talk about that here in a bit. But yeah, it's working on Xavier Woods. So maybe he's trying to get into Miz's head, because Miz is like, "What's your angle? What are you trying to do here?" And he's like, "Oh no, I'm just trying to help you out."
No, man, I'm just saying, man.
Yeah, so it was interesting, but of course that got interrupted. Braun Strowman, which is funny because Bronson Reed seemed fine when I remember in the beginning of the show they were showing them all walking in, and then out of the blue, you see just Braun Strowman just tear out Bronson Reed into a catering table or something.
Well, I was gonna mention that, like when the show opened, because it was the walkthrough with
Yeah.
Liv and Dom, and then you just see them, poof, and then you hear on commentary, you hear the they're still fighting. I was like, they're still fighting from last week. Like
Um,
they kept it really was like Peter Griffin and the chicken, where they
yeah.
like fought the entire way to the next city, and they were still fighting in the back. And then Reed just walks out like he's fine, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I thought they were like brawling, and then
Yeah.
immediately Strowman attacked him again. The match never happened. It was
No, it
like the
didn't.
match didn't even get started. Yeah.
This was just a setup. All this was just a big facade to set up Braun Strowman versus Bronson Reed in a last monster standing match. So they're pretty much going to have a last man standing match next week
It's
on
a
Raw.
match. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how they do with that. I mean, I'm excited for it. It's going to be. I hope they have like maybe it goes on first and it's like the first hour commercial free because it'll be nice to see it just go on and on. But
yeah.
who knows? But yeah, that's pretty much all it was for. Miz just like disappeared once all that broke off. He just like disappeared, and it was just them two. Security tried to break him up, and they were literally just like throwing these guys like lawn darts, which was hilarious to see. But I mean, I'm excited to see it. We'll
Yeah,
see.
should be good. Although I will say that the promo for the last Monster Standing match that they showed during SmackDown,
Oh yes,
a little too much cheese for me.
Yeah.
I was like, really? Like this is like a couple of little kids storyboarded it and said, wouldn't it be cool if like one of them has like Godzilla's face and the other one kind of has Godzilla's face too, and then they're
Yeah.
stomping in a city, and I'm like, guys, like come on. So that took me out of it a little bit, but it should still be a good match.
It really should. Yeah, it was a little cheesy, but we'll see what happens. After that, we had Drew McIntyre cut a promo on CM Punk, talking about he's going to take him to hell with him. And yeah, this one was pretty short and sweet. Drew didn't really talk very long. I think this whole promo was maybe like five to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It really was not that long. And yeah, in a nutshell, just again setting up the intensity, which is well overdue because this is going to be a Hell in a Cell match. So you definitely want them to have that blood feud. I think this is going to be the final installment of their feud. So excited to see
Yeah.
it. I've always been excited to see it. This is just kind of adding another layer.
I hope so, and I feel like though they've dragged this out for so long that they're all promoted out at this
Yeah.
point because we got a pretty short CM Punk promo the week before, and now we got a
Yeah.
really short Drew McIntyre where he's basically
Yeah.
just said the same thing. He's like, "My family also begged me not to do it, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do it anyway. See you there." And it's like just killing time till Hell in the Cell
Yeah.
because they've had some really great promos in here, but they're losing a lot of steam on it the last couple of weeks. So
Yeah, I think they laid it on too heavy too early, and now they're just kind of
Yeah.
like coasting on the fumes. So we'll
Yeah.
see what happens. I mean, the match should still be good, but we'll see. How
oh
it
yeah, I'm
goes.
sure it will.
After that, we had Damage Control against Unholy Union, which was interesting because Unholy Union came out first, and then Damage Control was backstage in Gorilla ready to go, and you had Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill kind of trash talk them, which was odd to see a face team do. Kind of tell
Yeah.
them that they haven't forgotten this and that. So, of course, Io Sky says, once we're done with Unholy Union, we're coming after you guys. We haven't lost sight, typical stuff. So, yeah, because that was, Bianca Belair, Io Sky had like the amazing match the week before. So I think they're just kind of riding that momentum. And then so after this, Unholy Union, again, they work well as a tag team. Isla Dawn, Alba Fire worked great. I've always complimented their tag team style. This match was fun. It wasn't very long, but there was a lot of action in it, a lot of good spots in it. And at the end of the day, you had Kairi Sane hit the insane elbow to the outside, which was cool to see because she gets massive air when she does that, and it was cool to see. And then Io Sky hit the over the moon moonsault, gets the victory, and now they move on to, I guess, I'm assuming Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair.
Yeah,
So
I
we'll see how they
guess.
set it up.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like that they were like. This is almost. They didn't really say it was a qualifier, but it's kind of
No.
like kind of felt like it was.
Yeah.
Good match. It was a good match. I was entertained.
Mm-hmm.
Io Sky's always great, and her picking up the win here again was really good. Like I said, I do feel like from a tag team wrestling, Io's too good to be kind of relegated to the tag team right now. But I get it. I know they're
Yeah.
trying to find something
Definitely.
for her to do right now,
Yeah.
and with Asuka being out.
Yeah.
But yeah, good match. I was wrestling entertained.
Same. So backtrack. We had the Creed Brothers versus New Day, but backtrack a little bit. We had a backstage segment. Actually, that was after. Sorry about that. We had the backstage segment where the New Day, Kofi comes out and telling Xavier Woods like, "Hey, I'm sorry. He brought like the Budios box. He brought Francesca. He brought and he told Xavier Woods, I'm gonna let you take lead. You tell me what you want to do, and let's get ourselves because." Xavier Woods said, "Let's put all the fun craziness behind us for now until we get back on track, and then we can have fun again." And I guess again showing that frustrations from Xavier Woods of losing, and again Karrion Kross getting in his head, right? So now Kofi Kingston's like, "Hey, take the reins." He's like, "Yeah, no more shenanigans until we get it situated." Which was funny to see because you had the guy coming with the pancakes, and Kofi's like, "No, no," and Xavier was like, "Oh, okay." So again, they go up against the Creed brothers. They set that up, which I don't know what's up with. Man, not Julius Creed.
Brutus.
Yeah, Brutus. I don't know what's up with that laugh that he's trying to do. It's like reminds me of like a '90s
Yeah,
like those '90s
like '90s bad guy.
Yeah, like that annoying laugh. I'm like, oh my god, but it is what it is. They had a pretty fun match too. I mean, Creed brothers are always talented, and of course it's the New Day, so they had a good match again. Though Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston not in matching attire. You had Xavier Woods
still had the dark
black
attire,
and gray. Yeah. And Kofi in the bright green like he always does. Again, showing that it's the little subtle details, right? And they were doing great. They were working great together, handling business. The match was going their way. American Made was still trying to like get involved, and you kind of had a point in the match where Xavier Woods just snapped because, of course, shenanigans were happening. He had Chad Gable on the ring apron, and Xavier Woods just had enough. He was about to do his elbow drop off the top, and Chad Gable jumps up on the apron, and Xavier Woods just gets off the ring, just gets him and throws him in the ring, and just starts like beating on him. And of course, they're just like, "Hey, he's not in the match." And what happens there is Brutus gets a chance to wake up and get his momentum back about it, or get his wits about himself, and take advantage of the distraction. And then they end up getting a Brutus bomb on Xavier Woods to win, which I think is important to note that it's on Xavier Woods because you had Xavier Woods lose his temper and like just go off on Chad Gable, and he's the one that cost them the match. And that was interesting to see because
I liked that too because he, and also right before that, Woods, Kofi was kind of rolling and doing well, and Woods put his hand out, like demanded the tag, and Kofi complied. Where it was like, hey, he's letting him call the shot, like rather than letting Kofi take the pin.
He's like, okay, go ahead.
He wanted to come in, and Kofi accommodated him. So I really liked that, where it was like, hey, he did relinquish control, and he screwed.
Like, he kept up his end of the bargain. Yeah. I agree. And then, of course, after that match, you had the backstage segment where, Xavier Woods is apologizing for losing his cool and everything. And then for reasons unbeknownst to me, LWO comes out with Rey Mysterio to apologize again for
that was strange.
helping them in their match last week. But then what was interesting here was Xavier Woods' little comments. So, like, he comes out, he's like, hey, that was our bad. And Xavier was like, yeah, obviously. And, like, he's just kind of, like, snarky with him. And then Rey Mysterio's like, man, I don't have time for this. I got to go focus on Finn Balor next week. He's like, yeah, because he's a former champion, which is odd. He's getting mad. And then Kofi's like, hey, man, he didn't mean it that way. He's like, of course you would say that. You're a former champion just because I have never held a singles title. And he just, like, blows up. And then that's when Rey Mysterio gets mad. Now we have Rey Mysterio versus Xavier Woods next week, which would be interesting to see. And then we have, for some reason, Kofi versus Chad Gable next week. So hey,
Kofi needs something to do. So
we entertain him. Go over there. So so that was interesting to see. But again, furthering the storyline, I feel this is going to be a long-term burn. I'm not sure how long they can keep it going before they're causing the split. But it looks like the split's on the horizon.
It's got to be getting close. Like you see Xavier Woods kind of falling apart each week. And it's now he had his opportunity to kind of lead everything, and then he messed it up. Now he's going to be fighting against a face in Rey Mysterio. So I'm like, I feel like
he's taking over the heel.
Next week, he's got to kind of fully rotate into that heel thing.
Maybe
I like the.
Maybe he takes the win over Rey, and that kind of solidifies in his brain that he should be a singles competitor. Because he can't lose a singles match. If he can win a singles match but not win a tag team match, then he can blame Kofi in his own head. You see what I mean? So,
I like it. We'll see.
My thing. We'll see. And it's funny that they're doing it because the 10-year anniversary of New Day is coming up. So that's when he turns on him. I don't know. But yeah, after that we had the main event, which was my match of the night. Just
Same
because it
here.
was, yeah, it was a great match. We had Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker, and yes, I know I said they don't really change titles on Raw. Well, hell,
Well,
they
they
did.
did. Well,
They
and I
did.
was saying last week, I was like, man, wouldn't it be great if they did? And so, and even in the lead up, there was a lot of promos and teasers about
Yeah,
this match all through the night, to where
yeah.
I started feeling like, they're hyping it up an awful lot,
Hmm.
and they are in Jay's home state, like maybe. And so my feelings on it as the night progressed, I was like, he might actually have. They may do it here.
Yeah.
So it was a great match, though.
It was a great match. You had a lot going on. It was interesting. I know I'm gonna get crap for this, but I don't care. I thought it was hilarious. There was a when Braun Breaker hit. I forgot what move he hit because I was just laughing. He pins Jey Uso, but then he slides out of it to do like knee push-ups, and they were saying how that was so
Yeah,
impressive, and I'm like that's not. I mean,
yeah. I'm
they
like
were
that.
knee.
That was
I
pretty
mean,
weak.
granted, yes. Before people start trying to correct me, I know the first one was probably like a knee push-up, but then the second one, but they still weren't like actual push-ups in my book. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
they weren't really push-ups, but I was like, okay, but I get what he was trying to do. Maybe he didn't have enough space in the ring because they were actually towards the edge and on the corner, but it was an
yeah,
awkward spot. But yeah, I thought that was funny. But yeah, again, just proving Braun Breaker. I think the whole point, and after seeing the match, it makes sense why they let him drop the title on his second defense. Because at first I was like, I can't believe they let him drop on his second title defense, but he was already arrogant. You
yeah,
can tell. And he wasn't taking Jay seriously. He was mocking him. He was, just kind of, just taking him lightly. And he was, taking laps and doing his thing on him, thinking he had this in the bag. He didn't see Jay as a threat. And Jay came to actually like focus and do it. So Braun making a rookie mistake in that he just was not taking his opponent serious and just not giving it his all, I guess, which is the same thing that almost happened with Sami Zayn when he tried to face Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental title and
yeah,
lost because
yeah,
Sami, he said, I didn't take you serious, but now I will. But I feel like that can't be your gimmick. That will not be a successful gimmick, that you're just like, oh man, I lost, but now I'm going to take you serious. Like, no, you need to take
yeah.
every
Now
match
I'm gonna win.
serious.
Now it'll
Yeah,
work.
so I'm curious to see what they do with Braun Breaker now. I still feel he deserves to be in a title picture. We'll see
Yeah,
if they keep going. But yeah, Jey Uso did. I mean, Jay hit his own spear on the outside.
yeah.
That
He
was
had, he
cool
had,
to
he
see.
had like three spears. He had the spear
Yeah,
in the ring. He had the spear through the barricade,
yeah,
and then he had the spear again, and then two Uso splashes. So I like the fact that he really had to pile it on to try to
yeah.
get the win here.
It
It
still put
wasn't
Braun over
easy.
as a big heel. Like, it still put him over
Oh,
as like a strong
definitely.
competitor. So
Yeah.
he didn't look weak by any means. It was They both looked very
It looked like it
strong.
was the arrogance and the inexperience
Yeah.
and being too full of himself, which they've already played into that. So I think it's good, and they can still do it. They can still do it here. I agree. It's not a you can't do this long term. That can't always be his gimmick, but it's got to be in the early goings. He's got some opportunities here, and as he grows and matures, he'll grow out of that.
Yeah,
But I really like this when it like on the second round when he kicked out the first time. I was like, oh, they're not going to let Jay win. And then when he did the second round and hit it again, it was like, oh, shoot, it's going to happen. And the place went, of course, went bananas.
oh
As
yeah,
soon
they
as he
lost it. The
won.
roof blew off.
They
Yeah,
lost it. It's too bad it happened like right before they went off air,
yeah,
because there was no time to really bask in the celebration. There was like it was like, oh, he won, and then that was it.
yeah.
And then USA cut off and cut away. But I was a little emotional for him at the time. I was
Yeah.
like, man, it was such a feel good moment. Of,
It was.
man, he's really worked hard for so many years, and now he's finally gotten that opportunity. So it was
Exactly.
great. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was a great match. That's why it was my match of the night. Even before the victory, I was just like, wow, he threw everything but the kitchen sink at Braun. Again, showing how not desperation, but more like his veteran savvy, right? And like, okay, I know this guy is stronger than me and has more stamina, so I need to throw everything I can at him. That super kick when Braun was coming around the corner and like at full speed, he ate that super kick. Holy hell, that was nice. And so again, it's just the experience is what gained the victory over him. Not that he's stronger than Braun, which is good because Braun is like the stronger of the two, but Jay is the smarter more experienced of the two, and he used that for his advantage. And now you have a new IC champion. So I thought that was great.
Agreed.
But that was it.
Yeah.
That was Raw. Honestly, some of the wrestling that they had, it was very few, but I think it was like 5 matches, and so it was fun. It was nice. The matches that we had, I liked them. So I would say I'd give this a B plus, only because it was very promo heavy, and I understand.
Yeah.
I understand why, but it was just so much talking. But again, I get it. We're leading up. They should have saved. I feel, but the reason I'm so critical on it is because I feel like if you still have to do this many promos to build a match, like, then you should have, been building the matches. But they threw them all together last minute, so
Yeah.
is what it is.
Yeah, I thought the main event got an A++ for me. The overall show was a B, just because that really was the best thing about it. And it kind of made you forget a little bit about the unevenness of the show that happened before it, and it wasn't very wrestling centric. But yeah, probably overall I'd give it a B. I'll be a harsh.
Maybe it'll change once Raw goes to 2 hours, because I feel like if this would have been a 2-hour show, then it wouldn't have felt as promo heavy. I think obviously they have to fill 3 hours. So.
I don't know, because SmackDown was a 2-hour show and it felt promo heavy.
Well, let's talk about it.
We'll talk about it right now, because I was like, yeah, SmackDown is a 2-hour show. I was like, there's a lot of promos happening, which I wasn't wild about. And we opened the show with Randy Orton coming out to cut a promo. This was kind of Randy can count on the number of people he can trust on one hand, and one of them is Cody Rhodes, but that he needed an explanation for why Cody was going to team with Roman. Cody came down and then said that he might look like a fool teaming with Roman, but he'd rather be a fool than a coward, to which I say, I don't know about that. I'll kind of harken back to Roman Reigns talking about, like, Cody, you're an idiot. And I'm thinking, Cody, you haven't learned from a lot of these things. Like, I'd rather be a fool than be a coward. And it was like, you don't have to be either. You probably could have found a different partner, but who knows? But Randy said that he didn't really have a problem unless Cody makes it a problem. Ominous. We'll see what that means. And then Kevin Owens interrupted, but before Kevin Owens could interrupt, the Bloodline interrupted Kevin Owens. And long story short, they all jawed back and forth, and we wound up with the main event being Kevin Owens and Randy Orton versus Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. At one point, Cody was trying to make it a 6-man tag, and KO cut it off and was like, hey, you've got your own tag match, don't worry about it. And then in the lead up to this one as well, there was a backstage segment where Kevin Owens declined any help from Cody Rhodes and told him, hey, don't come down no matter what. And then he walked away, and Randy Orton's like, hey, do come out.
Yeah,
don't worry about it. This guy
he's mad right now, but we need help.
If we get in trouble, we totally need you out there. So the little division there to set up the main event being the tag match without Cody Rhodes. Thoughts on the opening here, Big D?
Yeah, I mean, just setting up that can we trust him, can we not dynamic with Cody, because he's partnering with the enemy, so to speak. Again, Kevin Owens has always been a paranoid type of character, right? He's always been uber paranoid, and so that's kind of been his stick, and I think they're sticking to it. I like the little nods where, like, Cody's like, yeah, there's 3 of us, and Kevin's like, nah, you got your partner, kind of, again, just throwing shade, like, nah, you're good, you got like, we got this, because they are a tag team, and so that was cool to see. I always like seeing them on the mic. Here's another reason why I like Randy Orton so much. I think it's hilarious because he really is that person that's been around for so long that he can pretty much do whatever he wants, in that ring, and say whatever he wants. When Cody's coming out, Randy Orton's there, like, mocking, like, the little, like, whoa, and he's just like, yeah, he's like talking to the camera. It's a good song. Like, he's just, little things he does is hilarious. I love it. And so that was cool to see. But yeah, I think Cody's kind of struggling mentally, whether he's making the right decision or not. And I think they're kind of using that. Not sure where that's going. Not sure at all where that's going, but maybe eventually a championship match between Randy Orton and Cody, because commentary did say that Cody was in Legacy with Randy
originally.
Orton. Originally with Randy Orton, and of course DiBiase's son. But yeah, that again, I don't know where they're going with it, but I like that. I like that uncertainty. I like being able not to predict what's going to happen. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, it was interesting. I think
Yeah.
all the memes. I think all the memes got to Jacob Fatu because he stopped doing the prayer hand standing next to Solo, so that was good to see.
Now,
So
just for now, we'll see if it comes back. We'll
yeah,
see.
but yeah, it was
No,
good.
yeah, it was a good opener. Set up the main event. After this, we got the flashback to the Bailey and Naomi double pin on Nia Jax, and then you had Nia and Tiffany, a little bit of a dust up backstage with Nia kind of slapping
Yeah,
around Tiffany Stratton and threatening her a little bit. And then that went right into Bailey versus Naomi, number one contenders match. Um, it was a solid match. Naomi looked real strong to start off. And
yeah,
then you had Bailey turning the tide after the commercial break because we got commercials in this one. Long story short, no shenanigans because I was kind of wondering, is Tiffany Stratton going to come down and interfere? Is it going to end into disqualification? Are they going to set up a triple threat because of kind of what happened with the threatening? None of that happened. Bailey hit the Bailey to belly and followed by a flying elbow because she respects her friend so much. She needed to trash her even more to make sure that she could win. So she hit the flying elbow right after that, picked up the win. She's going to face Nia Jax in a week at Bad Blood. So that's all resolved. And then they had a little backstage segment where they chatted, and I guess she's like, "Hey, once we're done here, I'll give you another title shot." All right, cool,
yeah,
we're still buddies, and that was that. So, and then they set up next week is going to be Naomi versus Tiffany Stratton because they jawed backstage as well.
yeah.
Match was good. I mean, it was expected. I would have been more surprised if Naomi won and qualified. So we're getting a run back of Bailey versus Nia Jax, and maybe at Bad Blood we get the cash in perhaps
Yeah,
from
I
Tiffany
was, I was
Stratton.
about to say. I think I think that's kind of lying in the waste there because they have. I will want to take a moment here and just kind of give a nod here, tip of the hat to Nia Jax and her promos. She used to be
Yeah,
very terrible at promos, and this backstage segment was like perfect because I think they found the right character, not character, but the right characteristic. There we go for
yeah,
her, in that she's like that jealous, like paranoid heel that everyone's out to get me, including my own people, because she's like, they're talking backstage, and before Tiffany can explain anything, she like grabs her by the throat and like scares the daylights out of her, and is like, if anything happens to me and my title, then something bad's gonna happen to you. And then when they're done,
yeah,
she smiles and she's like, see, now we can be friends again. And I'm like, I like that. I like
yeah,
that for Naya because that's how she is. She uses people. I like that they're not letting her fake it anymore. I like that she's just
hmm
like full on like, look, I don't care. I'm going to use you, and you know it, and you're just going to like it. And I think that's great. But then like the camera zooms into Tiffany Stratton and shows her face change to like anger. And I'm like,
yeah.
that's that cash in right there. That's that. She has that over her that she can cash in on her. So will they cash in? We'll see when. We'll talk about those predictions later. But as far as the match goes, I think it went very well. It was a good match, and Bailey and Naomi always put on good matches together because they know each other very well. So Bailey versus Nia is going to be a fun match.
Yeah, I agree. And then after this, we got a flashback to LA Knight and Andrade addressing the a fist bump versus handshake controversy, which feels a little weak for me, but okay. While they were backstage, kind of jawing at each other, Carmelo Hayes kind of like comically blindsided LA Knight with like
That
one shot
was
to
out
take
of
him out.
nowhere. You just
Out of nowhere, and just like blasts him, and he goes completely out of frame. And then it's like, all right, we got a match, let's go. And then they head out to the ring for their match,
I love that.
which was a
Yeah.
it was almost a little too silly for me because it was like boom boom, all right, let's go. And then like the champ's just gone. And they had a pretty long match. There
Yeah.
was two commercial interruptions. There was a moment early on in this one too where Andrade hit Carmelo with like a power slam on the ring apron. He kind of
Yeah.
caught his tailbone. It looked really bad. It looked like it hurt a
Yeah.
lot, and he caught like right on the tip of his tailbone. And of course Corey Graves had to remind us that this is the hardest part of the ring that happened on.
It
So we
is.
got that. It is true. I know you wrote a thesis on it, so it has been verified. This was a really good match, I will say. Especially, it's probably a testament to their creativity, as this is their sixth match against each other on SmackDown. They're still finding ways to keep things fresh and to keeping
Yeah.
it entertaining. Just the interruption of the two commercial breaks did for me. I was like, we're getting picture in picture, yes,
Yeah.
but nothing real consequential is going to happen. Lots of near falls. The only thing I didn't like was the dumb ending of this match because everything about it was great, and I wasn't. But basically, after like 30 minutes, because this went on for a long time, after like 30 minutes, LA Knight comes out because he's barely recovered from that one like shot that he took. Then he barely comes out and he's kind of storming down to get revenge on Carmelo and basically causes a distraction, which allows Carmelo to hit a surprise roll up on Andrade, like the worst way that you possibly could have ended it. And then Andrade and LA Knight were kind of jawing back and forth with each other afterwards. And then LA Knight's like, "Hey, you want to shake my hand?" And then Andrade's like, "No." And it was like, "Well, now he refused the handshake." And I'm like, "Well, of course he did, because this guy stormed down and cost him the match and made a distraction. And why would he shake his hand now? Like that is idiotic for you to try to offer the handshake at this point, unless you're not being sincere with it." So, like everything about that, like for me, just kind of spoiled this really great match that we were having. So, match was good. Ending was kind of stupid. It feels like we're heading towards a triple threat. But what did you think?
So this we'll have we'll have to agree to disagree, because this was my match of the night, and I liked a lot of stuff about it. And here's why: the beginning, going back to the backstage segment, like I get Andrade, he's more traditional. He was expecting like a handshake of like, "Hey," and I think Corey Graves. I love Corey Graves on commentary, because before the match, when Michael Cole was like, "Well, he just fist bumps the handshake." Corey was like, "I fist bumped 11 kids on my way here. I don't care about any of them." And I'm like, I literally laughed out loud, because I was like, "That is such a Corey Graves thing to say." And I'm like, "But it's true. You know, you just fist bump, whatever." But no, like, you know, I guess Andrade, you know, in the Hispanic culture, you shake hands, right? You're like, "Hey, man to man, let's shake hands, whatever." That's what he was expecting, and I get it. You know, it's a very, very loose thread to try and build a feud on. But I love that. I love that they're doing backstage, and LA Knight again. LA Knight had his back to Andrade because he was talking to some person backstage, a producer or somebody backstage, and Andrade's like, "Hey, I need a minute," and he went away, and then they had their talk. And he says, "You know where I'm from, we shake hands and this and that," and then the blind side was great because it just happened so fast. I had to rewind. I was like, "Hold on, what happened here?" He just like lit them up, threw them over like the little boxes that were there, or the equipment boxes. He like just launched them over them. Yeah. But the beautiful part about it is that when that happened, the U.S. title's still just sitting like right there, like perfectly unbothered, just there, because that's where the focus is shifting, right? And so again, it's more mental. And Carmelo Hayes is kind of like, "Nah, I'm focused on this match. Are you? Let's go. Like, I'm ready. Let's go." And so he went, and Andrade was like, "Oh, shoot, okay." So then they came out, did their thing. The match was great. These guys put on great matches. They have extremely, extremely high chemistry together, and that's why their matches are so great. And I know it feels like a lot of matches between them, but I feel like each match has gone a little bit differently each time. It's never been like the same thing over and over and over. Like their matches are just great. Like that power slam on the ring apron was amazing to see. And then Carmelo Hayes going for all that. And then what was it? He reversed that superplex. He reversed it into a cutter. That was insane to see. This was still my match of the night. Yeah. Like, I get you.
It was even though I didn't like the ending, this was definitely the best match of the night.
Yeah, it was. But see, then when Andrade started getting like his momentum, trying to get it going here, you had LA Knight's music hit, because Andrade had Carmelo Hayes, but Carmelo Hayes rolled out of the ring, and it was kind of sitting on the ring, on the floor against the ring apron or the LED board, and then LA Knight's music hits, which is interesting that happened, because usually when somebody interferes, they just come out, you know. But his music hit, again, playing to LA Knight's arrogance of like, he's the champion, he should have an entrance when he comes out, whatever. So he comes out, and then before you know it, he doesn't hit Carmelo Hayes, because Carmelo Hayes gets back into the ring, and Andrade is stopping him, because again, Andrade going back to that whole like, respect the match, respect the wrestler, you know, we're doing our thing, and he's telling LA Knight, like, "What are you doing? Like, get out of here. What are you doing?" And then he gets the roll up. Carmelo Hayes is a heel. He's going to do heel tactics. I think his post-match interview is like, "Hey, a win's a win." And so that's why he got the roll up victory. I don't like roll ups, but this made sense, because now you're going to throw LA Knight into the mix. So that tells me at some point in the future, we're going to have a triple threat for that U.S. title. Yeah. And I think that's why they had Carmelo Hayes win, so they could knot it up at 6-6 apiece.
Oh yeah, I figured he was going to win.
Or 3-3. 3-3. They have
Yeah, it
six
was gonna be
matches,
3
3
and
and 3.
3 for the 6
Yeah,
matches, and I knew they were going to do that too, because I was like,
yeah,
it doesn't make sense for them to even go up 2 matches on him at this point. So
yeah.
Carmelo's going to find a way to win. I was like, do we
I
really have
get
to
you.
do
No, I
special?
get you. I could see that. And then, of course, there was still confrontation backstage, and again, it's just building that whole. I think this is going to make it. I think this will be a good title defense for LA Knight. I'm not sure who they would have. I don't know if they'll have him retain or what will happen with that. But again, the triple threat will
Yeah,
protect him regardless. So we'll see what happens with that.
yeah. And then after this, what happened? Oh, we got a teaser for AJ Styles. So AJ Styles is coming back next week,
He
so that'll be
is.
nice. There's a lot of stuff happening next week. Actually, they
Yeah.
teased
They got a full
the
card next
dumpster
week already.
match. Yeah, dumpster match. Which this was the next match that came up was like the teaser for the dumpster match between Meechin and Chelsea Green. This one was Meechin versus Piper Niven as like the tune-up, and I'm like, this is like a harsh tune-up. Piper Niven's much better.
It's more to wear her
Much
down.
better than Chelsea Green.
Yeah.
And they're like, this this is for her to get ready. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I would have picked this one as the warm-up match. The prop was Chelsea Green bringing down the garbage can that was like fully loaded and sat it at ringside, and they teased it a lot. Unfortunately, like the only way it came into play is towards the end of the match. Piper was going for a cannonball, and she like cannonballed herself into the trash can, and that's all that really ended up happening.
Yeah.
So she hit the trash can. Meechin did pick up the win after that. Dumpster match with Chelsea Green was next week. It was fine. It was just, this was more like the comedy aspects from Chelsea Green and getting people's appetite ready for the dumpster match next week.
Yeah, it was a filler match, and it's funny that it's more of like the, again, old school, heel thing of like, hey, I got my muscle, I'm gonna have my muscle wear you out before you and I go at it, and so that's pretty much all it was. But yeah, the trash can was a nice touch. Again, Chelsea Green does the funny heel shtick so well. I love it. So it was good.
Yeah, she does. And then after this, you got like the final card. So the other thing that's happening on the Go Home show for Bad Blood is there's going to be a tag team triple threat ladder match.
Yeah,
With
I'm excited for
Bloodline,
that.
DIY, and Street Profits, which should be great. That's what I was like.
Yeah.
We're getting AJ Styles, we're getting this triple threat ladder match, and then we're getting the dumpster match. And I'm
Getting the dumpster
this is
match.
a really good Go Home show for SmackDown. So don't miss that one right before Bad Blood. And then the main event time, Solo and Jacob Fatu versus Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Kevin Owens and Jacob Fatu started off, and then Solo pretty quickly demanded a tag in so that he could face off against Kevin Owens after Kevin Owens got crotch chopped at him. So he wanted to come in. Lots of good action on this one. Predictably, as the match played out, you had, Randy Orton waiting to get a hot tag. Yeah, a lot of the usual stuff. Randy Orton hitting his greatest hits and doing the draping DDT. You knew inevitably Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa were going to come down to interfere, which of course they did. They came down and did their thing, which necessitated Cody Rhodes running down to help. And then, of course, somewhat predictably for me, like you kind of knew Cody was going to come down.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to cost them the match somehow. Kevin Owens is going to take exception to it, which is exactly what happened here.
Yeah.
So Cody got thrown into the ref by Jacob Fatu. And then Kevin Owens got distracted by that, was like, hey, what are you doing? And like getting him up. And then Solo ended up getting the pinfall on Kevin Owens. And they keep pointing out KO has like never pinned anybody from the bloodline. That continues. And this led to a pushing and shoving match between Kevin Owens and Cody. And I'm like, okay, are they going to blow this up? Randy Orton's kind of in there as the voice of reason, stepping between them. And they kind of hug it out, and the show ended.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay. Like I was hoping they were going to do something a little bit more substantial, especially since, Randy kind of already gave Cody an ultimatum. Like, unless you make it an issue, it would have been nice to see maybe Randy Orton turn in a little bit here and backing up Kevin Owens more versus trying to be the voice of reason, which is also strange, kind of knowing Randy Orton's history.
Yeah,
Randy
he's
Orton
the one
is now
trying
the
to reason.
rational voice of reason, which is a little strange. But it was fine. I mean, it's checking a lot of the boxes. We're heading into Bad Blood. There's the dissension between Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes, and that continues.
Mm-hmm.
You see him getting ready to boil over, and he's almost about to do something. This time he did. There was the shoving back and forth, but then he pulled back on that. So I don't know if we'll see it culminate at Bad Blood? Is Kevin Owens going to come down? Is there going to be a bigger brawl and Kevin Owens comes down to help and then turns on Cody Rhodes, or does something happen here? I don't know. We'll see. But it was fine. For me, it kind of was what it was. Definitely wasn't match of the night. It was strong. It was a solid match. But what did you think?
I thought it was fine. It was very predictable. We knew when Randy said, "Hey, I know Bloodline's going to interfere. I need you to come out," and he will, and he's going to cost them the match, right? Because Bloodline's always going to look strong going in, and I think that was pretty much the gist of it. Honestly, I think it's just setting that up, or maybe it's going to set up where Cody and Roman are going to need help because the Bloodline's interfering, and you're going to see backstage where Kevin Owens is going to stop Randy Orton and be like, "No, he chose this. Let him handle it." So
Yeah.
who knows?
Who knows? But SmackDown, that was it for SmackDown. Solid show. I would rate Raw a little bit higher because of the impact of Jey Uso winning the title. Was obviously a huge deal. So I'm gonna give it a B overall, and so which means I'll give a B plus, I guess, to Raw to revise my ratings. But yeah, that was SmackDown this week.
Yeah, it was. I agree. I'm good with the rating.
And then, so we'll do our quick hits for Bad Blood. Quick
Yeah.
predictions.
So let's start off the top. We have CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Hell in a Cell. I think this is the one where CM Punk's going to come out on top because he has to.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be it right there. It protects him immensely being a Hell in a Cell match. So I think that's going to be
I would agree. I mean, it doesn't make sense that Drew McIntyre would win the final match, the rubber match between them. So I'm definitely going to say CM Punk, and then CM Punk will move on into the world title picture. I don't know what they'll do with Drew, but this CM Punk.
Yeah. I have Damian Priest versus Finn Balor. That's a blood feud there. I have a feeling Damian Priest is going to take this one. Because maybe it'll lead into Finn Balor bringing the Demon back for another pay-per-view. That's just kind of my thoughts there.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see Demon King this time.
No.
It would be cool if we did, but I don't think we're going to get it here. And I agree. The way that they built this one, it makes more sense for Damian Priest to kind of bury the hatchet with the Judgment Day. Like, this is going to be him basically ending this feud, kind of moving on to do other things with him defeating Finn Balor.
I agree. After that, we have Liv Morgan versus Rhea for the Dom on a pole. No, I'm just kidding. Dom in a shark cage match. I've been torn with this one, but something tells me Rhea's going to pull this one out since that's the significance of putting Dom in the shark cage.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think since they're trying to make it like, hey, this is even now. There's no shenanigans. Is how they're trying to. I think in a no shenanigans matchup, she will end up being victorious here, and maybe same thing. Like have the Terror Twins kind of move on from the Judgment Day at this point.
Then they kind of do their own thing.
And do other things. Yeah,
I agree.
So,
after that, we have Cody Roman versus Bloodline. I'm going Bloodline, just because again, I think that the other remaining members are going to come and interfere, help out. I don't think we get Jimmy back. I think I saw a tweet or a post from Rikishi about keeping Jimmy in everyone's prayers. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But Rikishi's been known to be a little over dramatic sometimes on social media, but I hope he's okay. I hope everything's fine, but it's just odd. We haven't seen Jimmy yet. And I don't see him coming back here, but I see this happening because I see Cody and Roman imploding from the inside out, and I don't think they're going to get any help from anybody. So I think Bloodline's going to win this one.
Man, I'm torn on this one too. So this will be where we part ways. I'm going to say I'm going Cody and Roman, and I do think we get Jimmy back. I think it's a red herring from Rikishi. I think he's trying to make people think
maybe.
Yeah, I think he's trying to make people think Jimmy's not coming back, and then we will see Jimmy, and then I think we might even see Jay come out and help now that he's the Intercontinental Champion. And you get that is like the backup group.
I'd be happy to see that.
It's not Orton and it's not KO.
I think Randy Orton and Kevin Owens are not going to come out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they won't come out, and so you're going to see Jimmy and Jay come out, and that's going to start setting the table for like the War Games match.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that. Watch
That's
me
cool.
be completely wrong.
Yeah.
Because you're
No, I was torn.
You're always right on these ones.
No, I mean I wasn't right because Jey Uso won the title on Raw, so that was. But I'm torn, but that's just kind of my logic of thinking. But again, you're right. It could be. I'd love to see it because that'd be cool to see. But I don't know. We'll see. After that, we have.
Sometimes the fun thing doesn't happen though.
Now we're gonna have Nia versus Bailey. I don't know who's gonna win that one between them two, but I know there's gonna be a Tiffany Stratton cash in. That's
Same
I
here.
think it's already in the books. Like there's no way. Like they gone this so long.
I'm gonna say Nia wins, and Tiffany cashes in on Nia, because I feel like if you ever cash in on Bailey, it doesn't pay off their feud. I think you got to have Tiffany come out there and just like lay out Nia and then pin her, and after
Makes
like
sense.
a hard fought match for Bailey.
Yeah.
But I agree that I think it ends with Tiffany Stratton's the champion.
Yeah. So that's it.
That's the card. Short. It's going to be a short and sweet one, but should be a fun one. And that's what we got for today, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate the support as always. Like we always say, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please leave us comments. Let us know what you like, didn't like, agree with, disagree with. Just want to chat wrestling. That's what we're here for. We really enjoy it. We really appreciate the support as always. And until next time, I'm Michael D'Angelo. He's been Big D Daryl Ortiz. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you soon.